Hello and welcome to our nightly news. These are the headlines. The President of the Republic, Abdulmajid Tebboune, accorded an official welcome to his brother, His Majesty Haytham bin Tariq, Sultan of Oman, who arrived this Sunday for a two-day state visit. A strategic vision guides the relationship between Algeria and Oman, fostering strong economic ties and deepening fruitful partnerships. Now, the first session of the Algerian-Japanese Joint Committee focused on enhancing cooperation and strengthening the partnership between the two countries. On the international scene, France criticized by Transparency International's latest report, dropping up to the 25th place in the 2024 edition Corruption Perceptions Index. Welcome back, everyone, to tonight's news. The Sultan of Oman, Haytham bin Tariq, arrived in Algiers today for a two-day state visit. He was received at Houari Boumediene International Airport by the President of the Republic, Abdulmajid Tebboune, with full ceremonial honors, including a 21-gun salute in tribute to the distinguished guest. Upon arrival, the Sultan exchanged greetings with senior officials, including the Speaker of the Council of the Nation, the Speaker of the People's National Assembly, the Prime Minister, the President of the Constitutional Court, the Minister Delegate to the Minister of National Defense, Chief of Staff of the PNA, and the Principal Private Secretary at the Presidency of the Republic. Following the national anthems of both countries and the salute to the flags, President Abdelmajid Tebboune and Sultan Haytham bin Tariq reviewed military detachments from various units of the PNA assembled to pay the honors. The Sultan then proceeded to greet members of the Algerian delegation present to welcome him. For his part, the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, welcomed the delegation accompanying the Sultan of Oman. In the VIP lounge of Houari Boumediene International Airport, the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, accompanied by the Sultan of Oman, Haytham bin Tariq, was welcomed by members of the diplomatic corps accredited to Algeria, representing Arab, African, European and American and Asian nations. The Sultan's state visit to Algeria marks a significant milestone in the long-standing and fraternal relations between the two countries, relations rooted in mutual respect and a convergence of views on numerous regional and international issues, among them the Palestinian cause. Algeria and Oman share common principles that shape their efforts to promote joint Arab action and unity within the Arab world. In recent years, bilateral cooperation has gained renewed momentum, driven by the shared commitment of both leaders to forge a privileged strategic partnership across various sectors. And this dynamic was notably reinforced following President Tebboun's visit to the Sultanate of Oman, during which 8 memorandums of understanding were signed. A joint investment fund was also established to foster partnerships and launch collaborative projects in key sectors such as renewable energy, petrochemicals and Saharan agriculture. Later at the VIP lounge, President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, had bilateral talks with the Sultan of Oman, Haytham bin Tariq. The discussions took place in the presence of the Speaker of the Council of the Nation, the Speaker of the People's National Assembly, the Prime Minister, The President of the Constitutional Court, the Ministerial Delegate to the Minister of National Defense, Chief of Staff of the PNA and the Principal Private Secretary at the Presidency of the Republic. Also in attendance were members of the high-level delegation accompanying the Sultan of Oman. Following the official welcome, the President of the Republic accompanied His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq and a distinguished presidential motorcade to his residence. Later, the President Abdelmajid Tebboune Later on, the President Abdelmajid Tebboune was received by his brother, His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq, who paid him a courtesy visit at his residence. Algeria and the Sultanate of Oman are reinforcing a strategic vision aimed at strengthening their economic ties. Both countries seek to diversify their economies and expand cooperation in key sectors such as energy, trade and investment. In recent diplomatic efforts highlight a mutual commitment to long-term partnership and regional stability. This strategic alignment opens new opportunities for joint ventures and knowledge exchange. It reflects a broader ambition to build sustainable and mutually beneficial economic relations. Rania Al-Bahri.
The historic visit of His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq to Algeria caught the attention of many and received wide media coverage.
البلاد الصباح اليوم حضرة صاحب الجلالة السلطان هيثم بن طارق المعظم حفظه الله ورعاه.
It shows the deep and long-standing political, cultural, social and economic relationship between the two countries. The strong connection between the two leaders gave a new impetus to these ties. President Abdelmajid Tebboune's visit to Oman, where he received the Order of El Said, marked a turning point in cooperation between the two nations.
هذه الزيارة لا شك أنها ستبحث تعزيز التعاون.
This visit will surely focus on ways to strengthen the partnership between the two brotherly countries. It will also discuss important regional issues. At the same time, it will aim to improve cooperation in areas such as the economy and culture, helping to build even stronger ties.
الجوانب التي من شأنها أن ترتقي بالعلاقات الثنائية بين البلدين الشقيقين.
هي زيارة تجسد الروابط التاريخية بين البلدين. كانت في الماضي
This visit reflects the deep historical ties between Algeria and Oman. In the past, these ties were based on trade and politics, as well as shared values. Today, this visit also highlights the many things the two countries have in common, economically, politically, and more, as they work to grow their relationship.
يسعى من خلالها البلدين الشقيقين إلى تطوير هذه العلاقات إلى ما هو أبعد من ذلك.
A joint action plan is being created to expand economic cooperation through high-level meetings between Algiers and Muscat. This opens the door for closer partnership, especially with the strong potential both countries have.
احترام وثقة.
Algeria and Oman have a relationship built on trust, respect and friendship. God willing, this visit will be successful and lead to more investment, trade and common interests.
معدلات الاستثمار والتجارة والمصالح المشتركة بين البلدين.
The two countries also have strong strategic ties. These are not just political, but also include partnerships in energy, petrochemicals, medicine and desert farming. Algeria and Oman both use flexible and balanced diplomacy and share similar views on key issues like the Palestinian cause. They want to support peace and security in the region.
تتقارب السلطنة والجزائر في وجهات النظر في القضايا السياسية وتعتبران مع
Algeria and Oman see political issues in a similar way. They are known for helping to bring peace and solve problems in the Arab and Islamic worlds. Both countries have successfully helped to end many regional conflicts and promote peace and development. This visit by Sultan Haytham is hoped to strengthen economic cooperation even more.
Algeria and Oman form an important geostrategic and economic partnership. They are working together with a shared vision that serves both countries' interests. This visit is expected to take cooperation to a higher level, especially in the economy, which is now a main focus through summit-level diplomacy. Algeria sees its Arab and regional role as a key part of this strategy.
Cooperation always. The Minister of State, Minister of Foreign Affairs, the National Committee of Abroad and African Affairs, Ahmed Attaf, received the Japanese Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs, Hishashi Matsumoto, who is on official visit to Algeria. The visit coincides with the first session of the Algerian-Japanese Joint Intergovernmental Economic Committee. The meeting offered an opportunity to review the outcomes of the committee's work and to exchange views on a range of regional and international developments, among them the Palestinian cause. The Japanese Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs and the Secretary General of the Algerian Ministry of Foreign Affairs, National Committee of Abroad and African Affairs, co-chaired the first session of the Algerian-Japanese Joint Intergovernmental Economic Committee. The session reaffirmed both sides' commitment to expanding and deepening bilateral cooperation, with a shared determination to inject new momentum into the Algerian-Japanese partnership, in particular in the economic sector, in line with the development priorities and strategic objectives of both countries. Tasked by the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, the Secretary of State for African Affairs, Selma Bakhta took part in the inauguration ceremony of the President of the Republic of Gabon, Brice Oligui Nguema. The ceremony was held on Saturday in Libreville in the presence of several heads of state and government. Abroad, France has dropped to the 25th place in the 2024 Corruption Perceptions Index, according to a report by Transparency International. The ranking underscores persistent structural weakness in the country's anti-corruption framework amid a series of scandals and growing public distrust in democratic institutions. Najah.
Corruption in the political arena is deeply entrenched in France, with levels now considered extremely concerning. The situation has escalated to the point where it poses a serious threat, reflecting how profoundly the political sphere has been affected. Estimates have been made, including one by the European Parliament for the whole of the European Union, which puts the direct and indirect cost of corruption in France alone at 120 billion euros a year. Transparency International's February 2025 report reveals a clear warning. Corruption in France is spiraling out of control, fueled by an equal justice system. As a result, the country, often referred to as the Hexagon, fell 5 spots in the 2024 Corruption Perceptions Index. Let's face it, there's really a huge need for justice and in-corruption police forces to help with lengthy investigations as well as local corruption cases. Whether at the local or national level, corruption cases in politics are widespread and are even tending to multiply due to a lack of accountability. A constellation of similar cases of illegal finance and of political activities and personal enrichment, and it's clear that from a historical point of view, there is a continuity of these practices. There are strategies implemented by some and others to guarantee their impunity, and these strategies no longer work as they used to. Transparency International warns that democracy in France is under threat, pointing to recent scandals and decline in public trust in institutions. The report also emphasizes deep-rooted structural flaws that are undermining the country's efforts to combat corruption.
In Morocco now, where the forced eviction of several families from their homes has sparked outrage. The Makhzen has justified the move, citing structural fragility of the buildings, without offering any alternatives or rehousing solutions. Najah explains the situation there.
The Makhzen continues its policy of expropriating and demolishing working-class neighborhoods under the pretext that the buildings are fragile. Behind deception slogans promoting an urban development plan, the true objective becomes clear: to seize the properties of modest families. Powerless and dispossessed, these families can only voice their despair and outrage in the face of such injustice. After inspection, they told us that these buildings are fragile and about to collapse. There was no expertise. On the contrary, these buildings can withstand the ravages of time for 20, 40, or even 100 years. Growing fears of a concealed agenda to reshape the demographic landscape of Moroccan cities are being fueled by this alarming situation, which is also sparking widespread public outrage. They told us it's in the general interest, which is not true. And after that, we were told that we have 15 days to leave the premises. I have no money to pay the rent. What's happening in Morocco is not a series of isolated incidents, but rather a carefully executed strategy aimed at emptying working-class neighborhoods and stripping poor residents of their homes, often to serve the Zionist interests. Allied with the Mahsen, faced with expropriation orders and deprived of viable alternatives, many distressed Moroccans are left with no option but to take to the streets. They rise up to denounce this injustice and to demand their fundamental right to a dignified life, starting with fair compensation or relocation to suitable housing.
A protest took place in Bamako, Mali, where hundreds of people took to the streets following a call from broad coalition of Malian political parties. The protesters denounced the dictatorship, demanding an end to the political military transition and the establishment of a timetable for a rapid return to constitutional order. Maya Al-Bahri.
Poverty, hunger, and the deteriorating social situation crisis continue to mount, hitting Mali's already exhausted population. Assimi Goïta, who came to power through a coup d'etat, has been making a series of controversial decisions. Several widely criticized reforms have been introduced. Among them, the suspension of political party and media activities has sparked the most reactions. Many journalists, civil society organizations, and political parties have voiced serious concerns about the erosion of freedom of expression and the proper functioning of democratic institutions.
The political parties will continue to exist and function. They may not finance us, they may not help, because that's what's been happening for the past 5 years. It's done on purpose.
Rallies were held this Saturday in several cities, calling for dialogue and the protection of the fundamental rights of the Malian people. Meanwhile, a coalition of around 100 political parties is demanding the end of the political military transition by December 31st, 2025, and the creation of a clear timeline for a swift return to constitutional order in the face of political restrictions, silencing of decent and weakened institutions. Mali is becoming increasingly isolated, risking its internal stability and standing on both the regional and international stage.
And that was it for today's news. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you tomorrow.